in today with For Divas Only. You know, designed for the woman that realizes that she doesn't have to be all of that to be all of that, because she's been all of that all the time. As you probably have gathered just by listening to some of the things that I have shared with you, that I am a woman of purpose. So my desire is to share with you things that could assist you in your life. So today I have with me my dear friend, Stephonia Roberts. She was among one of the first individuals that I've met and extended a friendship hand to me. And she's been an adorable friend ever since, and I can appreciate her, and you will too. Stephonia is going to help you with your healthy lifestyle, among other things. Now, she is the first African-American female policewoman in the city of Lubbock, Texas in the late 1980s. She was also in the United States Navy. She is an award-winning author of over 13 books. This woman is a social activist here in the city. She's on a multitude of committees. She does marketing, but I want to start off with something that is a little bit different. A lot of people aren't involved in this, but it's becoming a necessary entity in our lifestyle today. It's called healthy living. She is an herbalist. That meaning that she knows about tea, she knows about things that could heal your body. And we are going to begin with Miss Stephonia Roberts in the Garden of Eve. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have met Stephonia Roberts, and here we are. We are going to begin, as I have said, in the Garden of Eve. Welcome, Stephonia. Go ahead and start with me and tell me about this garden that I just fell in love with the first time I walked into it.
Oh, I appreciate that. And thank you. It's been a wonderful experience gardening, and I really appreciate those that have came into it and blessed my garden as well. So I really do thank you for coming and sharing that experience with me and being so kind and wonderful and open to my thoughts and ideas about Mother Nature and relationship garden. So it's been a whirlwind for me. Now, my children and my husband, they probably didn't like it that much, but that's what that is. So it's been exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. The first time I was in the garden, I had no idea where I was coming. And I knew I was coming to your home. It was you were doing art in the garden because your son is this prolific, excellent artist. And I walked through through the backyard, and there was this habitat was just sitting there. It was just everything green and everything creepy crawler, I might add. And we were just in this garden, and there was streams and water fountains, and this was in your backyard. So tell me about this habitat, this thing. You know, I remember seeing you online with butterflies and releasing butterflies. And then you were doing herbs, which we're really going to get into because we really want to talk about the healing process. But that was so beautiful and so awesome to me.
Oh, thank you. The habitat is in our gardens. You should have a habitat, an ecosystem, so that everything flows together cohesively. I feel that you can't have one without the other. So I try to focus on what I call organic gardening. And my version of organic gardening is not using any type of pesticide. I don't care if it say it's organic pesticide, because in my mind, there's no such thing. And so I applied for, someone told me about, oh, your garden is just beautiful, this and this, and you get, what is this bug? What is this? And I was like, oh, you know what? when you come into this space, you have to understand that everything that's in this space belongs here. You are the one that's intruding. And so it kind of, threw people for a loop. But then I knew that was a teaching tool to engage people into what was going on in the garden. And so we have, birds like mockingbirds and cardinals and doves. I've had a couple of owls, screech owls, to come and hang out and stay for a couple of weeks or whatever, searching for food. Of course, I have had plenty of Texas spiny lizards. They're everywhere. They're like a family. So they're there to help with the insect population as well. Then, I have my ladybugs, wasps, and of course the bees and the butterflies. And even though, we eek and ook and I'll holler about these things, if we don't have them, if something was to, some crazy event was to occur and we lost our pollinators, then also we lose our food. So they serve a big purpose in our lives. So I try to honor that in my garden by trying to keep everything pesticide free. And even saying that, I done lost some good greens, behind some aphids and certain caterpillars. And I cried, but I knew what those caterpillars were going to turn into. Beautiful sphinx moth, hummingbird moth. And so I learned how to incorporate pests with predators. So that's one of the things that we had. I learned that if there is a pest in your garden, it's going to have a predator. So just remember that. So that's one of the things that I had thought about, taking care of the garden and making sure that everything was right. And so I enjoy it, and I still run sometimes on certain bugs, because there's a bug called assassin bug, and it look like something off of a Stephen King movie, but I know it's there serving a purpose. So it's been, I just love it, and I love talking about bugs. I didn't think I was a bug person, but when you have a garden, you're gonna have things that you're gonna see. So that's one of the things that you have to really think about and take care of. So that's it on that.
Yeah, it was really an experience. I remember not being afraid of the bugs. It was just like you're just in the garden with the bugs. And I remember walking and there was a spider web. And everybody said, "Move down." Move.
Yeah.
We just go around them, because they weren't messing with us other than the mosquitoes, but we had spray for that. But it was fine. I noticed in looking over this bio that I did mention earlier that was too long to go over.
I know.
It's just like, I had no idea, the Botanical Research Institute of Texas that you volunteered at, the Native Plant Society of North Texas chamber, the things that you get involved in that has to do with plants and science, the River Legacy Science Center, that brings us to the reality that you have truly become a authority in herbs, plants and herbs, as an herbologist. Is that correct?
I call myself being nosy. That's how I look at it. So
Okay.
people think that I'm an expert. I think there's a lot. I know there's a lot to learn. So I only know about the herbs or plants that in my surrounding. My dream is to go abroad to different countries, of course, especially like in the rainforest, and look and ooh and ah and have a better understanding of those plants as well. But as far as, what I learned here, I think I can survive, if something happened. I'm like, I'm going to be the one that's going to be eating St. Augustine soup, So I was like, I'm gonna eat some grass. Y'all just look, I'm gonna be full. So I compliment though, appreciate it.
The on Facebook you have a page that we joined called the Black Empath Forger, Healer, and Herbalist. But that's a fun Facebook page. I'm telling the audience about it. They need to find that if they are interested in really learning about the teas, because that's what I really also have been learning about you. Because some of the products that I've purchased from you, from Mrs. Jack's Body Foods, you know, facial, what do you call it, a moisturizer that I love. I've got hair products, you know, you have the teas and everything there for us. And I just, me personally, I truly just have been learning about the teas and how it's been healing my body, you know, even with the arthritis. For those of you who don't know, I'll be 67 in a couple of weeks. So every now and then you get a little arthritis, you know what I'm saying? So with the turmeric, you know, and putting in, is that how you say turmeric?
Turmeric.
Yes, which is just so helpful. You know, it's one of the most helpful things for me that I've learned, you know. But it's just a joy just learning about the Garden of Eden and how God had created the garden with these things for us that would be our food. It would not be meat, you know, and people need to begin to learn how food kills and food heals. And so to learn how to start eating differently, which is something that I've learned to do over the past few years, which literally I feel that has healed my body of a disease, you know, that I was diagnosed with, that I no longer am diagnosed with because of a couple of years of just changing my eating lifestyle.
I know, I saw my mom recently, and she was so happy because, and my mom is 77 years old, and I guess probably around when she turned, maybe, I think when she hit her 70s, she started getting diagnosed with all these weird things. And my mom's been a vegan/vegetarian for almost 2 or 3 decades. And so some of the things that she was telling me that she had, I was starting to question that. I'm like, Mom, who told you that? And she, you know, she told me that it was a doctor. And in my mind, I'm going, something's not right. And she showed me a bag of medication. And I stopped counting at 20 because I was just horrified that my mom is on all of these medications. And so she was happy to tell me that she recently just lost 14 pounds. And she was telling me about all her little tea concoctions that she made. And she was telling me about some of the stuff that she's gotten from me and how excited. But she said that she made up her mind to get off of meat completely. So she was doing, as far as her being, you know, she would do maybe chicken. So she got rid of the chicken completely because, you know, her mind was stuck on that part about protein. And she remembered something that I had said. So she said that she noticed she was breathing better because she was at the point that when she went to the grocery store, she was going to use one of those wheelchair things to move around with. And so now she said she could tell in just a matter of weeks that her breathing is different. And she was like, baby, you ready to go walking? And so to me, that was exciting for me to hear that for my mom. But it is a mindset change. And even though she knew from all the decades that she was doing, sometimes you still get caught up and you still have to be mindful of the things because you're always going to be tempted with certain things that they come out with. And sugar is like the no-no. And because sugar is really very highly addictive and it's in 52 different forms. And we only know maybe 4 to 5 forms. If, I ask somebody about it, they probably can name out all 4 right off the top, but they'll never hit no more than 10 because they're not aware of it. And so understanding the ingredients and the Latin names to disguise the different types of sugar, we have to be more diligent about that. So learning about the phytochemical process of herbs and how they work, even though they say, you know, their phytochemicals are non-nutritive, but plants give off certain chemicals to protect themselves, and those type of chemicals either well to let me backtrack. They give off certain chemicals to either to attract insects or so they could be the seeds or flowers can be pollinated, or they give off a chemical to protect themselves from being eaten. So those chemicals are what we're using in our body when we take those herbs. So one of the main chemicals that I think you know, for me to talk about that would be easy would be a flavonoid. And flavonoid, you go, what's the flavonoid? But the flavonoid is the scent that gives off. So if I was to put a strawberry under your nose and your eyes are closed, you would know that that was a strawberry behind the scent. The same thing if I was to peel an orange, you would know that was an orange. That is what we call flavonoids. But then the main phytochemical that everybody hears, but no one understands what it means. They just chime in on it like it's a fad, is antioxidants. And I'm like, okay, what are antioxidants? Antioxidants mean, if you break down the root word, anti means against, of course, but oxidant is stress related food. So the chemical antioxidant helps to balance and help to remove toxins out of your body that is caused by your overindulgence in certain foods. So, you know, and so that's why we were like, oh, okay, I want something with antioxidant in it. So that is actually a phytochemical, and there's over 1,000 different type of phytochemicals. So you have those that are adaptogens, you have those that are related to women hormones, whether it's, you know, that give you estrogen. You have your alkaloids, you know, and it's just so many to talk about, because I could talk about that all day. But herbs are wonderful, and just learning about them, that on a biblical aspect, they came before man was created.
Yes.
So I always, you know, talk and say, well, you know, God loved you so much, he put all your healing before you, and he put you in a garden where all your healing is at, and the only garden you will ever know is the garden called Mother Earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had a minister come to a church named Dr. Anita Phillips, someplace on the East Coast, and she's a psychologist, but her sermon was literally how we were formed from the earth. I mean, the Bible says he made us from the dirt, but she just breaks it down in the plant form and how some of our cells actually look like some of the plants. And it was quite amazing, because, you know, a lot of churches just don't move beyond, you know, the simplistic, you know, and she just really got into the spiritual realm of us, that how we need to learn how to live on the earth, pretty much, you know. I hate, are you in a position to kind of talk about sugar, you know, because I know sugar is horrible for us. Sweeteners, you know, I remember listening to Diana Carroll 100 years ago. Somebody said, why are you so beautiful? She said, I have no sugar in my diet, darling. Yeah. God, can you speak to that?
Yeah. So you know, your body has chemicals in it, and you have trace amount of chemicals. Like you actually have ammonia in your body, and you have chlorine in your body and stuff. And your body, natural sugar, your body has a little, and it know how to absorb that. But when we start increasing our sugar intake, and from oh my God, combination of things, like one of my favorite desserts is tarts. So I have fresh fruit, and then I on top of the tart. So now you mix in a natural sugar, and then the other type of sugar from whatever they made it, was if granulated sugar or however, you know, whatever that they use. So you have all of that, and so it's really difficult in understanding what your body needs. And I know, you know, bananas reign supreme, but bananas have a lot of sugar as well. But plantain which is like a banana. It doesn't have a lot of sugar, and you can kind of get the same taste. So once we learn about natural sugars and getting off of the pink and the yellow and the blue sweeteners, we can probably get rid of a lot of ailments like diabetes and arthritis and high blood pressure and cardiovascular diseases if we were able to learn how to regulate and maintain our sugar levels. So those are one of the things, and stevia is really great. Stevia is a natural plant. It's green when it grows, and when you dry it, it's still green. And so I've seen it. When it first came on the scene in the grocery stores, I bought it, and it was, pricey because I was trying to get away from granulated sugar. But then I noticed something. Now, wait a minute. How did this plant turn white? So I was like, okay, I'll just start growing my own. So that's what I did. But and in that process, I learned that stevia is really good in metabolizing your blood sugar levels because, first of all, it does not have any calories whatsoever. Two, it is a natural plant. So so one of the phytochemical processes of that is giving you that natural sweet taste. And then it's really good for people that are diabetic. It really helps. So that's a great alternative sugar for someone that's diabetic. They really it really doesn't spike up your hypoglycemic levels. So it's something that people can look at. And then versus honey. I used to do a guava nectar and found out some brands, they were adding sugar into the guava nectar when the plant guava itself is sweet. And so you just really have to be careful on what you're reading. And this is I hope my daughter-in-law don't fuss at me when she finds this out. So we were thinking about having cornbread for Easter. Now corn already has its own sugar, but I was willing to deal with that. So if I'm old school, I'm gonna make cornbread old school way. I don't put sugar in it, but everybody likes those sweet cake types of box cornmeal. And so she found one, and we were thinking about doing a Mexican cornbread, with jalapeno peppers and bell peppers and onions and stuff in it. And so she brought home 2 boxes of cornmeal, and I read one, and it had all this wonderful disclaimer information on the front. And I was like, if it's in a box, it has sugar in it. And so I turned it over and I read the ingredients, and I saw where it said sugar. I was like, oh, okay. I said it's further down. It wasn't the first thing on the list. And then when I get to the last ingredient, I see honey. So I'm like, why would I want sugar and honey? So let's go look at the gram list on this and understanding what a gram is. So a lot of times when we look at these products and it says how many grams of sugar, why can't they just break it all the way down and just be simple? Why do information for you as a consumer has to cause you to go out and research? It's because they know you're not going to research. So if you're looking at something that says 64 grams of sugar, well, 4 grams is 1 teaspoon. So now you're dividing 4 into 64. That's a lot of sugar.
Wow.
Especially if it's a 12-ounce can or 8-ounce can of soda and you have 64 grams. So your main product is just sugar in a fluid. So you have to learn, like I say, there's a lot. And we got our brown sugar, we have our molasses, we have our cane sugar, then you have your granulated sugar. Like I say, we have our stevia, guava, honey, xylitol, saccharin, all these different types, aspartame or aspartame, however. Oh, that I found out, it took me years to find out that I was allergic to the aspartame. It was in a lot of your sodas. One of my favorite canned soda, lemonade based canned soda. That was is their main ingredient. And one, it would cause my stomach to bloat. I will always feel constipated, just, feel uncomfortable. And that's because that was one of the side effects of that particular. Found out it was in several different types of chewing gums as well. One of my favorite products back in the day to help with fiber, in the orange can or orange pack. That not only did it have a wonderful psyllium husk in it, it also had aspartame. So I'm going, why would I need sugar in my psyllium when I'm trying to lose weight or have better bowel movements, but you still got sugar in it. And one of the things I always tell people, when you go to the grocery store, first of all, it's 600 products that could be, in most major grocery stores, where 80% of those products already have sugar in them. So if you go to the store to buy a box of saltine crackers, it's made with sugar. So those are the things, and we look at other things, other drugs really being addictive and habit forming, but they don't have anything on sugar. And if you think about this, a person that is addicted to drugs, whether it's heroin or cocaine, okay, they also addicted to sugar. It increases sugar. It increases their cravings in the first place. So they're getting a double whammy. And yes, it makes it hard for them to get off of that drug because they're still doing sugar as well. And we don't think about stuff like that. But sugar is very addictive. So we're all probably addicted to sugar at some different levels. And I run into people all the time that tell me, oh, I don't eat sweets. Oh, I don't do sugar. And I go, okay. I'm okay, because that's all I can tell you. But I know you don't know. You think that you are, but you don't know. Yeah, you are. You got some sugar in you, baby.
Oh yeah. That sweet addiction is real. I went on an ice cream thing. I was buying this ice cream that I thought was good for me called Talento. Yeah, $5 for a little thing. I'll get a little one. First of all, I think it was 1,500 calories for just a little thing. I gained weight. And when I ran out, I had to have more. And I remember saying to myself, I'm addicted to this. What's in this ice cream? And I stopped because number one, I was gaining weight. But the sugar, which I try to stay away from best I can. But yes, these sweets are in our are there.
It's really hard. It's really hard to do. So yeah, and I do understand because I'm preaching to the a congregation because I know it's hard for me, and I have the knowledge, but it's really hard. And but I will say that for anybody that's trying, you're gonna get overwhelmed. So don't try to do it cold turkey all at one time. Start slowly. If you drink cheese, start there. Try not to put a sweetener in it. I know it's hard. Or increase your water intake. Add lemons into your water. That helps you burn off energy, and it also helps to decrease that craving for sweets. That would be one of my suggestions. To do. And it's simple. And it's like I say, it's just a matter of just getting that mind set that you're willing to change. And I'm really so proud of my mom to know that you're never too old. My mom's 77 years old, and here she's changing up her diet, and she just thrilled to death because she sees how dangerous allopathic medicine can be, and how habit forming it can be. And I don't think anybody at that age should be on that medication. You don't live that long, and now why are you on all this medication?
Yeah, the doctors will do that to you. And then one medication will mess up something else in your body, then they'll give you another. And it's just become a thing, I had an uncle, this was years ago. He actually had a little overnight bag full of medication. And this was in the 70s, I believe, full of medication. And during that time, I was seeing a doctor named Dr. Gauss in Los Angeles. He was I want to say the one that can look in your eyes and see. No, he wasn't an optometrist. It was about health. He can look in your eyes based upon the spots in your eyes. He could tell if something was wrong with you in your body. It sounds like an herbologist, and he created a lot of medication. This was in the 70s. We used to take his not medication, his herbs. He was doing herbs. I'll have to get you information.
It started with I. Idris.
Yeah.
I know.
Herbologist. Yeah.
A minute. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first introduction into, what herbs can do and how they can heal your body and, give you. I was young then. This was 70s. Could give you energy, and then we all used to go to this health food store called Simply Wholesome in Los Angeles, Black owned, in the community. We go hang out and have our little smoothies, that we thought we were all being healthy and everything. And we were, eating sandwiches with grass roots on them and all that stuff. That was just the cool thing to do. But over the years, I moved away from all of that, You still try to eat halfway healthy, and I believe in probably around 2010, I came across a video called "What the Health," HEALTH, talking about the meat intake. And sodas and things like that, and what the industry was doing with the meat, and they were saying that certain meats were good for you when they really weren't good for you. In other words, no meat is really good for you. The Heart Association was behind a lot of these things, and this guy that was doing this interview was wondering, why is the Heart Association behind things that could harm your body? And that's when I began to look at meat differently, and begin to stay away as much as I can. Don't get me wrong, I would like to go have a good steak right about now, but I don't think I've had meat like that for, oh God, if I go to my cousin's house, David, and he's cooking these ribs, I'm gonna have one. But other than that, it's not anything I have. Everything's fairly vegan or gluten-free to the best of my ability.
Yeah, and that's the best way you can. And one of the things I always laughed about, as far as pertaining to protein in regards to cows, here cows are vegans, as you want to say, or vegetarians, and we're eating them, and all they eat is grass. And so what we're trying to get the nutrition from the cow flesh based upon what the cow is eating. We could skip all the meat part and just jump to the vegetation.
Absolutely.
And the cow not eating no meat, and they bigger than we are.
I think I shared with you, I was dating a guy. His food eating habits was so bad. What he ate, it was a short-term relationship, because I said to myself, this man gonna be dead in 6 months. Just like all these meats, and just nothing but meats. And it's just like, it was quite sickening. You become, it's like I used to smoke cigarettes. It's like I no longer can tolerate the smell of cigarettes. That's quite interesting. So it's the same with certain meats. When I smell meat, sometimes it's like, oh my God, I almost not too good. I still haven't weaned off of chicken totally. I will do some chicken every now and then, some chicken salad.
I'm so tired of chicken, and I think chicken is just as addictive as sugar. You can cook up all kinds of ways, but I remember one time, my husband, he's a truck driver, and he told me that he was going to one of our well-known chicken farms, and he was delivering chemicals that they use to lay down asphalt. So he thought that they was building a road within the plant. And he would go back twice a week delivering this chemical. And so he decided to stop one day and talk to one of the guys that was helping him to unload. And he asked him, are y'all building a road? Because I don't see the roads, and the guy said, no, that's what we feed the chicken. So they was feeding the chicken the same things that they use to tar the roads with. And he was saying that, oh yeah, you could come on a Monday and they'll be baby chicks, but when you come back Thursday, they'll be grown chickens, and that's what we eat. And even though he knew that, even though he heard it, he believed what they said, we still, he come back home and tell me we still eat chicken. That's what I'm saying. It's addictive, and it's and also because the world knows how the power that be, they hit you in your pocket. So chicken is very inexpensive. So that's what you're gonna get compared to you trying to, if you have a large family and you trying to eat and get full, you're gonna get chicken, but you also gonna get some other things, and it may not show today, but as your body slowly uses less energy and wear and tear, and then you come up with all these ailments from something that you ate probably 5 or 10 years ago. And I have a cousin that's been battling being overweight, and so he's been battling, trying, borderline diabetes and high blood pressure, because he really don't want to take any of the medication. And he said he stopped eating chicken for 3 weeks and lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks. He said because because at his job, he was right there next to the chicken shack, and he just ate chicken every day, and he just stopped for 3 weeks and lost 30 pounds. I mean, that's 10 pounds a week.
And that's hard to do. I wish I could lose 10 pounds a week.
I wish I could stop eating chicken. So, but it's hard. But I will say this for me, I switch back and forth between whatever my mind feel or my body feel. But for me, animals to me are friends. And I'm going, that's the way you used to think. I was thinking like that when I was young. And then, people persuade you and you get caught up in the world and you forget those things. And now that I'm older, I'm going, that's the way I really want to go back to. And so it's for me, you just have to make your mark as far as how far do you want to go down the rabbit hole? Are you doing it just because it's a fad? Or are you doing it because this is how you really feel about it? Or you have a deeper understanding of what's what? And meanwhile, you have people telling you have to have protein. That's not enough protein. And they try to break it up with science, but you can find science to prove anything that you want to, if you need to, but science is something that God made, and man is just, powering down from it and creating all these different compartmentalizing of what you should be doing and what you should. But then when you have the Bible, it tells you everything about meat in the first place, what kind and what not to. And then you have people that go on a tangent and say, well, that's not what he means. Well, if he told me not to eat, so what do he mean? So, so you have to learn for yourself what you want to do and what's best for you and your health. So if you know, if you like having chronic pain and knee pain and joint and pain and this from eating, you know, hard and heavy and eating a lot of meat, then that's what you don't. I mean, because the universe loves you. The universe loves you so much that it doesn't know the difference between good and bad or wrong and right. All it knows, it loves you. And so if you putting all these things in your body that you know that's not good for you, the universe is going to adhere to what you want from that.
Absolutely. My Lord. It's just our world has made it so difficult for us, but it's just so simple. I mean, the word of God just says it just like it is. You know, I remember one of my favorite things was shrimp. I love me some shrimp until I read in the Bible about shrimp and started doing research on what shrimp really was. And then I'm thinking about, this is really the roach of the ocean. Okay. You know, okay. And so it's eating all of the nasty stuff in the ocean. And then I put that in my body. That's just one little example of, like we said, with the chicken, what they do with the chicken. And then we put that in our body and we watch our children be birthed, and our kids are larger than we were, and we're larger than our parents were, you know. And it's just like, you know, these kids are huge, not just tall, which is tall is totally beautiful, but I mean just huge, just bigger children. You know, it's okay because of what they're eating, and we're eating that too, and we're getting bigger. We're just in a beast America.
Yeah. And that's the part. And then so, you know, and then, you know, these children that grow faster because of their hormones later on in life, they have more hormonal issues than we do at a younger age. They're dealing with endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, all kinds of stuff where, you know, we may have it late in life and they're having all kinds of hormonal, I mean, even hot flashes, and you still got your womb and you're going through this, and you ain't had a kid, you're 20, what? Yeah. So it's really weird.
Yeah, and it is what they're feeding us. And our nation is such a nation of greed. You know, it's really not about your health, the food. It's just to make the food look good so you'll buy it. We'll plump up the chicken, we'll do this, we'll put all these preservatives in. That's another thing people must learn, to try to stay away from all these food with all these preservatives in it. You know, it's just dangerous. So like I said, food kills and food heals. So we want to learn more about food, ladies and gentlemen. What can heal our body? What can heal our skin? What can keep the wrinkles away? You know what I'm saying? You know, as well as on the inside, what we put in our bodies. So we can do this. What else can we talk about, Stephonia?
Well, that part where you saying food heals and food kill, it's, I want to add to it, understanding the right types of food and understanding how it is grown, understanding the difference of what you're reading when you go into grocery stores and you look at their produce number, and understanding that that number means a lot. It's just not the SKU number for that product, but it also tells you how it was grown, whether it was grown conventional, and conventional means that it was grown and sprayed with herbicides or pesticides. And those usually start with the number 3 or the number 4. And then you get into your non-GMO products. I think those starts with the number 9. So those are the ones you really kind of want to look at. And then you look at your organic products. I think they start with the number 8. And so when you're in the grocery store, those SKU numbers really mean something, and they basically educate you on how your foods are. And my grandmother said it, and I think I had a friend that told me that her mama used to tell her the same thing. So I'm thinking maybe we might be related just because of that phrase. But my grandmother used to tell me, if a bug don't eat it, that's your first line of defense. There's something wrong with your food. So when we go into the grocery stores and these beautiful red apples are all polished and shiny, and okay, why? I mean, you know, and you could tell with the cucumbers, they're so thick and green, and what's that about? And so all of these preservatives are sitting there. And if you ever taken an apple from the grocery store, a regular apple, and sit it on your counter, it takes months for it to wither. And that tells you that it's full of chemicals. And so we get really smart and we want to be healthy and wealthy and wise with our food. And so we get into smoothing and juicing. And you're gonna and you're sitting there juicing that apple. That's not making you healthy. You're just making that chemical hit faster in your bloodstream. So you have to really be conscious about what type of produce or vegetables that, I mean, you know, that you're, or fruit you're gonna buy. And even when you're buying stuff out of the freezer section, the frozen fruits and frozen vegetables, just make sure that they didn't add extra sugar in it. You know, why would this have a syrup in it? Where did it syrup? The syrup from it, was it the syrup from this fruit, or was it some other syrup that they added into it so it could be sweet? And that's what I'm saying. Food is nourishing. And that's the way it's supposed to, but mankind has kind of gotten away from that. It's more, it's you know, it's a way of survival, and whoever has the you know, to meet supply and demand. Okay, well, if bugs are eating it up, what can we do to make all this for the people? Well, we need to spray it. Well, nobody's not thinking about all that spray getting into the roots and living inside the dirt with the other microorganisms, just waiting for you to plant a seed there so it can absorb that same stuff. So yeah, it's difficult, but you know, how far do you, like I say, how far do you want to go down that rabbit hole? Because one, it's not going to be cheap, but you are worth it. You have to understand you are worth more than all the gold in the world. And just taking the time to just move one unhealthy thing out of your diet will help you along the way. Once, I mean, and like I say, don't get overwhelmed, because it's a lot to be overwhelmed with. If you want to stop drinking juices, you know, do it that way, or stop eating breads. But just find one thing and try to stick with it till it becomes part of a lifestyle change. Because most people think of stuff as a diet, and diet, no, you have to change your whole complete mindset about how the way you approach food.
Yes, it is a lifestyle change. I don't know how to cook vegan, or so my what I eat is very limited until I learn how to cook. You know, it's because certain things you don't know how to cook. You know how to cook. You know, you're used to cooking with all this other stuff. Now, how do I make this with this? Oh, this don't taste good. Oh, this vegan cheese. Oh my God. You know what I mean? This is stuff. It doesn't melt right. It doesn't do right. So I'm okay with that though. You know, I'm okay with that. I feel better. You know, and I want women. You know, want us to learn that you know, God has it all out there for us.
Yes, indeed.
You know, and you know, women. This is, to me, this is the age of the woman, which we move into the age of Aquarius. We've been singing about that for 50 years, but you know, we're finally there. You know, it's women. You know, there's things that we just need to learn just to take care of us, because we got to save the children. We got to save the planet. We got to save these stupid husbands. I'm sorry, husbands.
We do so much, you know, but we can't save ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 Let's see. I know you are an author of over 13 books, and some of those books include things about health as well. I see here Groceries of Life and the Nature of the Garden. I see that here. You're also a poetess, Did I say that right? A poetess. I had the opportunity of performing with you. As a matter of fact, it was your show that I made my presentation. My
Yes.
first presentation at. I was so scared. I was so nervous.
I was so proud of you. Oh my God. Just to
You
witness,
know,
see that. That was
it was just so awesome to have such support of women that I didn't really even know you ladies that well, but you were just so supportive of me. Now, I have never had that. California is a whole different ballgame.
a whole different.
But the storytelling that you tell these stories in your in poetic form. I mean, it's real. You are a known storyteller in the country. They call you the storyteller. I know we're kind of getting off the subject, but I think these things kind of go with who you have kind of rolling to be. You know, this whole Mother Earth kind of thing going on with you that I see. It's just gorgeous.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I know when I was a child, we used to have what they call UIL, and they had a competition, which was storytelling. And so they would tell you a story and they will see if you can recite the story back, to see if you was going to embellish a little bit. And I was always intrigued with that. And I ended up being the alternate, I had an opportunity to go because this one guy, he was just really good. And I think we were in the 4th grade and he was just really great at that. But I was always the alternate. And I was like, one of these days, I'm going to be able to tell a story. And so, but it was still fascinating for me. And I enjoyed that tremendously. And it was still a part of me. But when I realized that my poetry was not just about poems, but I wanted to express something. I felt like I needed to be an advocate for certain things that I was passionate about. And so recently, I wrote a story or a poem where me as an African American, and because of what's going on with social injustices, I'm a lover of nature. I decided to write a story based upon a tree, a tree looking at slavery. And I've recited it a couple of times in different venues. And the last time I actually had the pleasure of doing it for a group that was about saving the elder oaks. And I did this poem. And once I was through, I was so exhausted because I felt like I was a tree and I was emotionally crying, and, at the end. And I was like, oh my God. So, yeah. And and because the story that I was telling, it really hit home about certain things. And so therefore I was trying to tell 2 stories about what we do to Mother Nature and what we did to human beings. And so I put all that in one story.
Wow. Storytelling from an African American point of view is how we have kept how we've kept the information going, I should say. My uncle, he was not a storyteller, but he wrote down everything. My uncle was about 20 years older than my father. So he was kind of like almost grandfather figure, right? So by him being that much older than my father, he was able to, I guess my Uncle Jones would have been, he probably was born in about, I want to say 1917 or something like that. So he had access to his grandparents and great-grandparents who were born in 1800s. So he could tell all the stories of, you know, the slavery stories, or should I just say the stories of being Black in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
They passed down the stories of being Black from the 1700s from their grandparents, you know, and he wrote a lot of that down for us. So the storytelling is beautiful. I've heard some of the stuff. I remember telling you at one event we were at, I said, you're in a whole different league than this group. And then, you know, you know, because this is a whole different league. You need your own section. You know, it was just because it's a story. You know, you were telling this story. Oh God, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. You know, it's
because I've always felt awkward because I wasn't doing the same thing, and so I felt, and at those times I felt like not only awkward, that probably I didn't know what I was doing, or people wasn't really listening to or valuing what I'm saying. So I was like, oh my God, you know, I got to hone in on this, but I just you know, was encouraged by our common friend to stay, you know, to stay in that lane that I'm doing and enjoy. And so one of the greatest compliments that I had, besides what you had mentioned to me, was it came to me a couple of weeks ago as I saying that I was doing this piece, that one lady said, I was so wrapped in the story that I did not know that you were talking about a tree. And then when I realized, she said, I was so overwhelmed that I just started crying. And that is the reaction that I really was looking for, that. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm staying in my lane with that because that's what I wanted to do. So now I'm you know, I'm starting to feel very comfortable in being a storyteller, because I wanted people to understand that I just don't do poetry. I'm telling a story I want you to hear, and I want you to feel, and I want you to be able to educate. And I wanted to leave some type of thought with you where you will remember and say, oh, that was a good point. Oh, what was that line she said? I want you to go, did you hear that? Mm-hmm. She was talking about a tree. Oh my God, you know, and so on. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to kind of, you know, I'm just happy and excited. So thank you. You made me feel really good at you know, and keeping up with that as well. So I really thank you for acknowledging that and pushing me on that. So appreciate you so much.
Oh, that is definitely a gift from God. You know, when I know what you mean when you say you feel different, you know, because it's you know, the Bible says we are peculiar people. You know, that peculiarness that people have, some of them don't realize that it's because they have been chosen by the Almighty God, you know. And just once we accept that we're chosen, I remember a sermon I did, sometimes being chosen ain't all what it's cracked up to be. Woo! Baby. You know, everybody want to be chosen, you know what I'm saying? It's not what it's cracked up to be, but it is, you know, in another breath, you know, it is when God chooses you to step outside the box, you know, and just be the person that he's created you to be. Yeah. I am still learning me, you know, of being, I would say, in a 10-year hiatus, just not doing anything, you know, but just going to work, you know, not doing anything creative for about 10 years, you know, and yeah, and it wasn't until I moved here I started doing some of the stuff. Yeah. Some of the stuff.
And you know what? And the funny thing about it is, I can say that there was a long hiatus for me because I lived with my grandmother, so I feel like I was very creative because of the things that she showed me growing up. And then in my early 20s, I just stopped. I stopped doing poetry. I always wanted to write books. I was, I had wrote like 3 or 4, in my head, I had wrote about 3 or 4 books as a teenager. It was wonderful. I used to read them in front of my class, and I had kids following this story of these 2 characters, and here I am, a teenager. And then, life hits you, and, you get grown and you see other things, and you get caught up in that. And so I used to paint. I stopped all of it. So, and now, I think within this last, I think probably about 2012, I decided, wait a minute, what happened to me? What happened to the creative side of me? And so since then, I've been developing that and trying to get that back. So, and I love it. It's like I haven't missed a beat. So I think, sometimes one of my favorite poets was Robert Frost, and he had the ode to the road not taken, and he was like 2 woods diverged, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And that has been kind of like my mantra. And so now I look back with no regrets, and I'm in my perfect timing for what I'm doing now.
Yes, yes, you are. It's just, I wrote a piece that those of us that survived 2020, we didn't survive it because we were so great and so good. It wasn't that we were any better than anybody else. It had nothing to do with that, but it was about time. It was our time.
Yeah.
To move forward in where we were supposed to be. And that's what, it's about time. God is he, we always say, I have a girlfriend, Sheila, we did a show, the last week's show, and we always say, God got jokes. God got jokes, and to learn how to just move into or just accept and realize that God is in control.
Always.
He's in control. And even when we go the wrong direction, he still is in control of even when we're moving in that wrong direction. He's still waiting.
Yeah, he's just waiting on us. Yeah.
He's just waiting on us. He's just waiting on us. I have just really enjoyed this. I mean, I just don't even want to be done. I've told the people that at the end, I'm going to have a lot of little things where they can get in contact with you. Is there anything else you want to share? I'm not on a time limit. I just don't want to wear you out because you're one of my favorites.
And I really appreciate you. Look here. Well, I told you I found the clubhouse scene, and
yes. I'm getting my iPhone so I can be in the clubhouse scene.
Good. Because I had a debut last Easter, and I was really surprised that people actually came, and so I had quite a few people. There were a lot of people from Europe that were in the house asking questions about gardening, and you have to be jazzy with the title to draw people's curiosity. So it was called Lunar Zodiacs in reference to gardening. So that was interesting, and it was really nice. And I really am grateful that Michael Gwynn kept pushing me, because he makes a joke of it, but it probably was about 15 times that he was like, you need to go ahead and do this room. And so it's based upon like the same ideology of the Black empath, forager, healer, and herbalist. So, but we have a little twist. We have poetry also. And so we're doing poetry prompts. So whatever the subject matter was. So since we were talking about a lunar zodiacs, the poetry prompt was the moon. So I'm excited to hear people that, like poetry come in and spit a couple of poems for that. We also will have a guest on the 18th from our page. Chef Carla.
Oh,
She
yeah.
would be talking to us about nutrition and cooking styles and stuff that she does. So yeah, I was really excited that. So right now we're only doing it once every 2 weeks, starting from 3:30 to 5 o'clock. Up under the clubhouse of Better Me, and it's called The Life of Eve. So that was just my alter ego with the Garden of Eve,
Oh, absolutely.
and it was exciting. So I really appreciate that platform. But it just learning things, and my kids are wonderful because they social butterflies when it comes to all these different apps, and they're trying to find ways to help me get my business out there. So mom, you need to be on this, or mom, you need to be on that. And I'm slow to rise on it. Then I go, oh, I should have been on this a long time ago. So but it's exciting. And only thing I can tell people, it's like listening to a radio station, but you can jump in and talk to the people, back to the people that you're listening to. So on any different, any subject matter of the world, and you're not limited to your area. Like I said, I had people that came in there from, one lady was from she was in Nigeria, another lady was in London, and then I had one that was in Australia asking questions about gardening. So it was wonderful. So I think for that platform, and I would suggest, that would be something that, to broaden everybody's horizon, because it just wasn't. I mean, I got on poetry platforms, just other different stuff, learning different app platforms. So there's a lot of topics out there, political topics. Anybody. A friend of mine was in a room with the great motivational speaker Les Brown. I was in the room the other day with Tiffany Haddish.
Oh my goodness. See, yeah, I decided I'm gonna break down and go ahead and get that iPhone. Just because I'm not in the mix, and I was talking, Michael sent something, it's like, I can't even get on with this stupid Android. I gotta get it.
No, they still developing it, but right now the iPhone is for them. And and like I said, I appreciate your time and enjoy you so much that you think well of me. That makes me feel very humble and loved, and because it's all returned as well. And I'm excited about my last poetry book that came out, and different ventures that I'm on, and I'm so excited about spring and getting out in the garden and just growing things and revamping, because the garden is alive. And, she's waiting for what you're gonna do for me this year, how I'm gonna look this year. So we out there redoing revamping the deck out there, and redoing the trail that goes up to the fence. I finally decided I was gonna flat on that area in, because it looks more natural. So I'm excited about that. And we got stuff just popping all over, in the garden. I'm excited about my fig tree. I'm hoping that she'll do well this year, since I didn't really get a chance to do any figs last year. So.
Oh, yeah. What's the name of your latest book?
Yeah, I actually got it in my hand.
Okay, pull it up. What does it say?
This is called Drops of Shade, The Miseducation of the African American Dream. And actually, this is my second series. The first book was called The Drops of Shade, A Reflection of Race. And it basically talked about the different experiences that I occurred as an African American female. And so, and then the second series is just things that stuff hadn't changed, and even though we're going through all this, I talk about how welfare kind of kind of facilitated in women of of cutting down our kings, and and I talk about redlining, the food, where the area that I'm from in Fort Worth, you have to go way on the other side of towns to get good food, to get healthy food, to go to the grocery store, and where it's a food desert, and people in that zip code are sick. The zip code I lived in and the zip code that was in the neighborhood next to mine, they have the highest mortality rate in the state of Texas. The longevity is age 68.
My goodness.
And we're less than 2 miles from a hospital. And its longevity is 68. So you kind of go out, like, why is that? So I write about redlining and habitats and how they did. And then I also, when I moved here, I lived in the projects, and the infrastructure was so bad. There was only one way in and one way out of the projects. So so in there, I talk about those things because I know projects are almost in every major city, and redlining, is still a part of a lot of things, whether you're trying to, get a loan or, buy a house, they still have that based upon your race. And so these are just, different pieces of poetry that talked about it. It has some unity in it. I honor women. I honor, sisters to sister. I honor men in it as well. So I'm really proud of it. And it was a long time coming just to get this second. And then the other thing that I'm really proud of is my son. He actually did the artwork in honor of me. So this is a me when I was in the military, and then all the experiences of racism and me being a police officer. And then he actually has part of it in the back, and he also do my profile picture. So I'm excited about him and his artwork, and him being an illustrator for me now. And thanks to Dr. Linda Merberak, I had to think out about. She told me years ago, why are you looking for an illustrator? You already have one in your family. And so I found it years ago. So it took that long for me to jump on it. So I'm very proud of him as well. And that piece was actually at the local museum that I'm also a part of, and was also in a competition. So I'm extremely proud of him on that. So that's gonna be my illustrator from now on.
Oh, he's a great kid. I had the opportunity to meet your son. He is a great kid. I'm looking forward to meeting the other kids. Only met your son. But
it's some girls, honey. Yeah, they're flousing.
The girls. Oh God, it's just me being here in Dallas. It's just really been wonderful. I just really met some wonderful people. It's just been great. Before we close, anything else you want to share? I want you to, when we get off, I want you to make sure you send me some contact information that you would want. I think I have most of it, but we'll talk after the show and make sure people know how to get in contact with you on your Clubhouse, your Facebook page, as well as your Mrs. Jack's Body's Food, where they can get food, as well as all of your books.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, because we're all out here. This is just the time. I think God is just saying, He's kind of bringing everything in the full circle. We got one more. We got one last hurrah.
Yeah.
And after that, He coming. That's just how He said. I'm gonna give you one last hurrah. The churches. I had to close some of y'all down because some of y'all was crazy, and those that opened back up or that have, remained, those are the ones He wanted.
Yeah.
One last revival, one last hurrah. you know, all for the divine purpose of God. So that's how we have to begin to look at things, ladies. We have to begin to look at things in a divine manner. We have to start thinking divinely, doing things in a divine manner. So, yeah, just spiritual thinking. We have to learn how to think spiritual, you know, in heaven as it is in earth.
Yes, 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 indeed.
All right, Stephonia, I love you. God bless. I want you to take care.
I love you, and I'm so proud of you, and so honored to know you as well. That was a blessing in itself. Thank you so much, Pumpkin.
Oh, you know what I forgot to tell you? Remember the play that I wanted to do called For Divas Only?
Yes, yes, I do.
You know, and the COVID happened and it just kind of blew everything. Well, I pulled it out yesterday, so I'm gonna start back on that.
Oh,
so
well, congratulations.
we're
Okay.
gonna do. I still got you as one of my lead actresses.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah.
All right. All right.
Baby, I enjoyed myself so much. Thank you, baby.
You are so very welcome. God bless. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This has been For Divas Only. I'm so glad you tuned in today. This is a special show for me. Actually, they're all very special because I'm a woman of purpose and I bring forth individuals to you that are also here for purpose, here for God's will. At the end of the show, you'll see additional credits on where you can connect with Miss Stephonia Roberts and Mrs. Jack's Food so you can continue or begin your healthy life. You know, before I go, I want to share one verse with you from Genesis 1:29. And it simply says, and God said, behold, I have given you every seed bearing grass, which is on the earth to produce seed, and every tree which has itself the fruit of the seed that it has produced, it will be food for you. In a different translation, translated in a different language, or shall I say from the original before it went into the King James, it says something like this. Look, I now give you all the herb which propagates by seed over the face of the whole earth, and each tree in which there, the fruit of the tree whose seed shall be food for you. That food is to nourish and heal our bodies until such time God calls us home. God bless you and keep you. I love you. And remember, you're already all that. No need to strive to be because you've been all that all the time. God bless and keep you.